Hey y'all, hey. It's your girl Chandra Nicole, and of course I got a message. I don't do the lives. I haven't graduated to lives, but I figured that I'll come here and share with you my story. A lot of people don't know my story. A lot of people do. My family and close friends, associates, and people who have read my books. So, and I just decided to share because I sold three of my books today at school, just sharing my story, just having a conversation. We were talking about mothers, daughters, and the attachment theory. And just shared my story, and people were amazed. I'm finding that mother and daughter stories need to be discussed. Um, like today. So, anyway, again, for people who don't know me, my name is Chandra Nicole. I am a wife, mother, author, mentor, and I work as a nurse. I um, had my first daughter when I was 15 years old. And at the time, I was living in projects, and my mom had abandoned me and my brothers. So we practically raised ourselves with the help of my uncle. And during that time, I was a very bitter mother, young mother. I was bitter because the relationship with my mom, me and my mom, it was toxic, very toxic. Um, my mom, she was a provider. She kept my hair done. She bought me clothes. She even would come and participate in little things at school. But the thing that I needed most for her was some one-on-one time, some conversation, some you can do it, some I love you, some we gonna make it, it's gonna be all right. And I didn't have that acknowledgement or assurance from her. And I secretly was frustrated and angry with her, like for like forever. It seems like it. And that ran my life for majority of my life up until I was about 35 and I'm 40. So 5 years ago, I, after writing and confronting my mom, I forgave her. I listened to her story, and I had to really go inside myself and accept my current life and how, yes, she has an effect on the woman that I've become, but I get to determine the mom, the mother, the wife, the friend, the sister that I'm going to be. So I had to release her and all the stuff that we went through. But before I did that, again, like I said, at 15, I became a teen mother. And I was a very angry, bitter teen mom. Very angry, very bitter, frustrated, wasn't ready to be a mom, but I actually had my child because I was trying to pay my mama back. Once I found out I was pregnant, I'm like, I'm keeping this baby. She just gonna be mad. And I struggle with teen pregnancy now and how people promote it and how proud, society has made it because I can tell you now, you got girls having babies before they even know themselves. That was me. I had a baby before I even knew who I was or what I wanted or how I want my life to be. Like now I have this baby and now she determines my life for the next couple of years. And of course, I didn't know how to be a mom. And then my mom wasn't being a mom to me. So I had no skills to give this young lady. So I was very bitter, very frustrated, somewhat narcissistic. Um, because I didn't know what was going on inside of me. Like, I denied that part of me. I remember being real mean and real angry, and people used to tell me all the time, "You so mean, you so mean." Now, I wasn't a bad person. I always had a big heart, but I was very mean. I had an attitude. I would snap on anybody. I would fight anybody, boy, girl, it don't matter. But as I began to age and watch people's reaction to the person that I was, it's almost like people was like, "Man, she just snapped. She just went off." And I remember God used to convict me when I come home after being out and just snapping on anybody. He would convict me and be like, "Man, you showed your tail. Like, you look crazy. Like, you got to do something with what's going on." And it took my husband to challenge me, you know. So just imagine what he was experiencing as well. It took him to challenge my behavior, to say, "Hey, honey, you know, I don't know what's going on with you, but I need you to forgive your mother because it's affecting our marriage and the way you raise our children. I know you love your children, but I never see you hug them. I never see you tell them, or I never hear you tell them that you love them." Man, I was like, "Dude, I know you ain't questioning my mothering skills, right? Like, I'm a dope ass mom. Like, I do everything for my kids, and how dare you come confront me about something like that?" But when I got by myself and had several seats, he was telling the truth. He was telling the absolute truth. And I had to reckon with that. One thing I've learned is that as a mother, as a woman, as a person, you can't give people what you don't have. I can remember when I first met my husband brought me to Chicago to meet his family, and his aunts, his cousins, everybody in the family, like, they like to hug, you know. They greet you when you come, they greet you when you go. And I was like, I remember I left the first time and I talked about this, I'm like, "Oh, your family too touchy feely." They want to hug all the time. But the reality was I wasn't used to that. I didn't grow up in a home where my mom told me that she loved me or she hugged me. It was just supposed to be understood. Like, she take care of me, she feed me, she do my hair. Like, it was a unspoken, you know, language. But to deter from what I'm talking about, please don't assume that your kids know that you love them. You have to show them, and you also have to tell them. You have to look your children in the eye and say, "I love you. You matter. I'm wrong. I apologize." Like, I had to learn to do that. And I was very shamed for a long time because here it is, I'm this strong, confident, ambitious woman, but I didn't know how to love my girls properly because I didn't love myself. And that's the truth. So I damaged, you know, to a certain extent, my oldest child. I did that. And there was some guilt and shame came along with that. And we stayed in that space for a long time. And after my husband confronted me, I started doing the work. But when I started doing the work of healing, all hell broke loose. I'm sorry. All hell broke loose. I'm talking about my daughter began to run away. She began to just do a whole bunch of things. And I fell into a depression because I didn't know how to help. I didn't know how to help her. I did everything that I could: psychiatry, counseling, mentors, church, neighbors, you name it, I did it. I exhausted every resource that I could, and it seemed like I wasn't getting it anywhere. And that added to my frustration. But along with trying to help her connect the dots, I needed to do the internal work. And so I started doing the internal work. I started to work on myself. And it was some times where I cried. I didn't understand. I kept begging God. I'm like, God, I'm doing everything you asked me, and stuff is still not changing. Sorry. Stuff still, things are still the same. And I remember one cold night here in Chicago. It was snowing so bad, and my daughter had came home. She asked me could she come home. She was in a girls group home, and she said, Mom, can I come home? I really want to be home with my family. And of course, every time she said she wanted to get herself together, I believed her. Like, I believed her. Even if she came home and she did a 360, I wanted to believe that she wanted to work on herself. So this particular night she came home and it was snowing outside so bad, and I was tired. I had just had my little Mari, my last baby, and she was probably about 3 months. And I can remember laying down that night, and my middle daughter, Demetria, come to my room and says, Mama, my sister gone again. And I can remember lying there in my bed, frustrated. And I could hear God clearly say, don't you move. Don't you get up. I got her. I got her. Don't you move. And I can remember the tears like streaming down the side of my face as I lay there just as numb. And I can hear him say, see, you're so busy trying to change your daughter, but I'm trying to change you. And that night I let go and I let God. And man, it don't feel good at all, because we think that once we make a decision that all is going to go well in the world. I have to wait. My mama had to wait. My mama had to wait until I was 35 to really understand the dynamics of our relationship, to really understand the dynamics of our family, and where depression comes from, where low self-esteem comes from, where the anger, the bitterness, where's the root of that? And that whole situation with my daughter made me change careers. So currently I'm studying to be a marriage and family therapist. And when I tell you God challenges me in both those areas constantly, he truly holds me accountable in those areas. And I'll be like, God, you sure you want me to be a counselor? Because I have those days where I'll be like, I don't want, I don't want this cross. I don't want to bear this one. But I know it's the cross for me. I love family. I love what family stands for. Um, I've grown so much, and I'm just proud of myself for even just creating videos now, because it's a big step for me. Guilt and shame will have you in a place where you want to die, where you want to not live. I've contemplated suicide before because the pain was so great, but that ain't the answer. It's not the answer. Life is the answer. Forgiveness is the answer. Patience is the answer, and love is definitely the answer. And as I move forward and continue to share my story, God never meant my story to produce guilt and shame or anger or pain. My story was given to me because it is so many African American mothers who struggle with guilt and shame, who are angry and bitter, got the bitter mama syndrome. You see a woman who always fussing and cussing at their kids, just stressed out. And for a long time, I had to shuffle through that because how I was trying to figure out how I was going to present my message to the world without sounding like I was bashing a mother and without sounding like I was bashing a daughter. I was like, God, give me that medium. And a lot of things I'll share moving forward going to probably ruffle some feathers, but hey, I'm here for the ride. So this was my attempt to shed some light on who I am, what I represent, and to help free some women, some mothers who don't understand, who might not have a clue of what's going on, who I know for a long time I felt I was so numb I just was on autopilot, just moving through life and getting my hair done and looking good. We know how to look good. We ain't mastered nothing else. We know how to get out here and put on a look, put on several masks, and inside we're dying. We're frustrated, about to lose our mind. I did have a nervous breakdown. But there were so many people who pitched in and who prayed, who labored, who picked up the phone over and over and over again, who spoke in my child's life over and over again. I'm going to tell you what else guilt and shame will do to you. Guilt and shame will make you feel like you're not worthy of God's grace on your life. Guilt and shame will have you feeling like you can't walk in your purpose because your life doesn't look like this. It doesn't look perfect. Your child is still acting a fool, or y'all are not getting along. So guilt will have you thinking that you can't not walk in your purpose, or you cannot help yourself or another because things are just not quite where you want them to be. I want you to get over that hump. I want you to live your life because whatever God has you to do, you're going to be sad and lonely and frustrated and bitter until you do that which God has created you to do. And everything is not going to ever be 100. But I'll tell you now that I am my most free as I've ever been in 40 years. And that's because every day I get up and choose joy, happiness. Every day is not the same. Every day is not happy. But I look for happiness in every day. And I trust God that He's going to do the same thing He did for me and my mom. He's going to do it for me and my child. And that's just the way that I look at it. I trust Him. I trust myself enough to say, this too shall pass. I still have a husband and children that I have to take care of. I have to take care of me, right? So that's a little bit of my story. And in the future, I'll be sharing like different parts. I'll be talking about emotional intelligence, going through the different emotions that we experience and how to use emotions for your good. Emotions are not all bad, but if left unchecked, they could create havoc in our lives and cause self-sabotage. So I'll be talking about balance. I'll be talking about bonding. I'll be talking about forgiveness. I'll be talking about mental health issues, attachment theory with mothers and daughters, and why mothers and daughters struggle so much, especially African American mothers and daughters. I'll be touching on all of that. So I know the video is a little long, but I'm long-winded by nature. I can talk all day, especially when it's good. It's good stuff. It's meat for your soul. It feeds you. You feel better when you get through. So that was it. I hope I shed some light on who I am, because I know people, see my book, and I share sparingly sometimes, and it's only because I'm trying to continually do the inner work. I'm not the one to jump on social media all the time when I know it's some work to do in my own house. So that's probably why you don't see me as much, because I don't want to never be guilty of working on or putting effort toward anything more than myself and my household. So that's it. Again, my name is Chandra Nicole, and I am the Urban Girls Mentor. I educate, empower, and inspire urban moms to go from frustrated to focus in their parenting. And as always, moms, be easy, love you, forgive you, and push through.